Welcome to the Awakened Human Podcast, the place to be for highly progressive yet extremely grounded intuitive guidance, energetic support, metaphysical tools, and higher consciousness for highly successful, ambitious, soul-centered visionaries and leaders like you who want to make a global impact and achieve your highest fulfillment by aligning with your soul's true divine agenda and your role in God's plan of lighted creation, and by utilizing your divine gifts, talents, and abilities from the higher realms. We do this by working with the non-physical realms of higher guidance, energy, intuition, and powerful metaphysical tools for healing and transformation. We understand that the real change and transformation that's being called for on planet Earth and in our own lives and our own businesses doesn't come from outside of us, but rather from within. And that the change that we desire to experience in our lives and in our world requires us to change from the inside. I'm your host, Lori Ann Spagna. I'm a best-selling author, spiritual catalyst, intuitive, energy worker, ascension guide, multidimensional channel, animal communicator, visionary, lightworker, and luminary. I have dedicated my entire professional life to helping thousands and thousands of humans and animals all over the world in service and contribution to the light, which is the expansion, the upliftment, the evolution of humanity, to awaken, to uplift, and to align with our true divine source, which exists within each and every one of us. It is my passion, joy, and purpose to share this information, energy, and consciousness with you. Thank you so much for being here today and for sharing time with me. Let's get started. It's me, Lori Spagna. I'm here with you today. I'm so excited to be with you here today. I'm actually in the state of New York right now with a dog demanding to be on my lap and another dog in the background. I'm so glad to be with you. How are you? How are you? Well, let me say, I'm in the state of New York, as many of you may know, if you have been following the podcasts. I've been traveling north from Florida. There was one day where I went through 4 states in the span of an hour and a half. I went through the top part of Virginia, then West Virginia, then Maryland, and then Pennsylvania in one day. And then the next day I went through Pennsylvania, New Jersey, and New York in the span of, that was, I think, 3 hours, or maybe a little longer than that. But overall, like, that's a lot of driving I've been doing over the past 4 months, close to 4 months. And a lot of traveling, and I'm happy to be here for a little bit, for a break, a little respite in New York while I'm still traveling to find my next home. As many of you may have heard, I don't know where I'm going to go. I'm just following divine guidance. Sometimes I think I'm insane, but I want to talk today about you following your divine guidance and learning more about how to follow your divine guidance and getting better at cultivating your divine guidance. And here's why: because there is nothing like awesome divine guidance. You know, when you're following your divine guidance, there's nothing like it to have divine guidance, especially if in my case, traveling alone on the road by myself, which I love and enjoy. I love traveling when I get really quiet in the car. I do a little practice where I go into a semi-altered state. I can still drive really well, because when you start using more of your brain capacity in a conscious way, you can do more and accomplish more with your brain, which is one of the great teachings and practices I teach people with in sacred visionary mentorship. But your intuition can come on too. It's like amazing to have such great guidance. There was one point where my guidance was saying, we just want you to be really still, because during this travel time, this period of time where you're on the road, we're going to be working with you to heal and resolve lifetimes of distrust of your own guidance. It was so beautiful. It was like the main purpose of this travel. You think it's to find your next right home, but really it's for some time for you to heal and resolve some of your own stuff related to your connection with your guidance, your divine team, meaning us, them, and to resolve issues from many lifetimes where you felt betrayed. Now, it's very interesting. You would say, well, why does somebody who's so intuitive and have so much guidance, why would someone like me, like someone like that, feel betrayed? And I would tell you that we carry traumas from so many incarnation experiences. Now, if you don't believe in other incarnations, and I think if you're listening to me, you probably do. But if you don't, that's okay. You can just refer to it as parts of your unconscious that you're, in your unconscious that you're either somehow unconscious of or that are not yet in your consciousness, right? In your full consciousness, be that you're not fully conscious of. Because quantum physics will refer to it as a parallel universe or a parallel reality. In a lot of cases, that's how they'll refer to that. And spiritualists will refer to it as past lifetimes. Metaphysicists bridge the gap between the two. I'm in that camp. But regardless, there's parts of your unconscious where you suffered some kind of traumas. And usually, those kinds of traumas are some kind of alienation from your own self, from aspects of your own self. And that includes your higher self or your divine team or both or your God source creator, right? So I get it that that's what my guidance was helping me with. And wow, if any of you have been following, for those of you who have been following my path, I left Florida and my nervous system was very, very taxed, very taxed. And I was talking about a lot of issues related to people pleasing and issues related to being taken advantage of and issues related to over giving and over delivering and just challenges that I was facing that I had to work through anyway. And I will say in this brief time, my nervous system has had an incredible reset. It's just amazing how time off, traveling, focus on self, reuniting with your own divine team, and really resolving those issues can really do such an amazing gift for you, right? It can really help you. And I've done a lot of sharing on this over the past podcast episodes. So I did a whole video series on that, but regardless, it's really raw and really amateur. And I had like no makeup on, and I'm still deciding if I want to actually put it up there because it's really bad videography, but the content that I talked about was so helpful. Okay, but either way, we're talking about connecting with your own divine team and your own higher self and your own divine guidance and cultivating your intuition. And I want to say that what I hear most often from people is that they tend to believe or think that they don't have access to it or that they're blocked or that they just don't have those abilities or that they get it, but only this way, not that way, or that they've tried and it doesn't work. I get a lot of people feel like they've tried everything and it's just not working for them. That's never true. That's never true. I've had a lot of students who have said things like, their higher self is blocking them. Like, that's never true. Never true. Your higher self will never block you. It's a lower self that will block you. A trauma will block you. An unconscious pattern or wound will block you, or multiple wounds. When people feel very blocked and when they say they've tried everything and nothing works, it's because there's traumas there that they haven't gotten to. I once had a student, she kept saying over and over again she was blocked and nothing worked for her no matter what she tried. And she felt that it was her higher self blocking her. But in reality, she just had really big trust issues, really big. And so she put layers and layers of walls up as a kind of protection. But what's protection? Fear, right? Why is that there? Because there's trauma, because there's unconscious self-sabotaging patterns, right? So these things need to be addressed and resolved in order for us to develop our intuition, right? People who develop their intuition and are utilizing it really well, it's usually because either they've cleared enough of that away or that particular aspect, they're just not blocked from it. But everybody has it. I promise your intuition, your guidance, your divine team, it's your birthright. It's part of the essence of who you are. It's not reserved for some and not for others, right? And I also want to share, I once had a colleague, someone I was friendly with through my professional life, and this person actually took a number of my classes, psychic development and animal communication, and was very gifted psychic, but had a lot of emotional traumas and wounds that this person wasn't working through. And because psychic development is not the same thing as spiritual growth necessarily. I mean, they're not the same thing, right? Spiritual growth is where one heals and resolves their traumas and their aspects where they are in separation from source, healing and resolving wounds and traumas, and coming more into alignment with the true divinity that we are, right? That's psychic development, and aligning so much that we more and more unify with our source. And in so doing, psychic gifts start to come online naturally. But psychic development is where you're actively working on developing those tools and those gifts and talents and abilities in an active way. So the two, while they do and can go hand in hand, and as you progress spiritually, your gifts and talents will come online, but you can do psychic development and not necessarily progress spiritually. So that was the case with this colleague. And this person was a professional psychic and taught classes over time. We stayed in touch for a long time. And like I said, she was a student in a lot of my classes. She was gifted psychic, gifted animal communicator, but highly traumatized. And so there were aspects of her potential that were still being blocked. And those aspects were the wounds and traumas that she still, as a soul, was here to resolve. So, so both are true. You can develop your divine gifts, talents, and abilities. You can develop those and cultivate them. But if you do it in tandem with healing and resolving your blocks, you're going to blossom even faster. And this is the point that I want to say, is that there's nothing that can stop you or block you but yourself. It's not only your divine birthright, it's the essence of who you really are ultimately. And when I use the word psychic, a lot of people misunderstand that word because they associate the word psychic with making predictions. And yeah, okay, that can be one aspect of it, but in truth, when I say psychic, I'm talking about utilizing all of the aspects of your extrasensory abilities, including clairsentience, clairvoyance, claircognizance, clairgoustiance, clairalience, like all those extra clairs, your ESP, extrasensory abilities, to whatever capacity you're willing and able to develop them. And just like everything else in the world, what you focus on does grow and evolve. So if you're focused on developing these potentials, you will be able to develop them. Nothing's going to stop you from it except you. It's within you. And there's nobody who can't do it. It's a question of, will you apply yourself, and will you get the right mentorship to help you refine it? Because I will tell you, the biggest hiccup in the whole psychic realm, extrasensory intuition realm, is interpretation, right? It's the biggest hiccup. Meaning, is what I'm seeing, hearing, sensing accurate, or is it simply my interpretation? What is the truth about what I'm seeing, sensing, feeling, receiving, knowing, getting? What is the truth? What is the true message? And how do I not interfere with the message that's coming in? Right? That's the biggest hiccup people have, but you need guidance for that. You need like support and mentorship for that. That's really hard to develop on your own. It's not impossible. It's not impossible, but it's one of the big areas that people tend to get stuck in. And it's what distinguishes really truly gifted psychics, intuitives, energy workers from those who are maybe perhaps not as gifted, because they'll misinterpret, right? Their filter or lens misinterprets, right? But there's certain things you got to do no matter what. You got to activate your third eye, and you got to do a lot of third eye activations, not just once. You got to start to activate your thymus, your high heart, your heart center. You got to know how to get into coherence between the brain and the heart. These are practices that can be learned. I even teach how to activate and awaken a fourth eye, which is your ability to see behind you. You really can with your inner eye, with your inner mind. You can know, you can see in so many places where you're not physically there. All of this stuff can be developed. There's so many gifts in there. And when you start using it and applying it in your life, and how you get really good at tuning in and listening. And then you have to also know how to ask right questions, right? Because your guidance is going to answer questions based on the questions you ask. If you're asking a question, that's people do this all the time in my classes, and it's part of the learning curve, right? They'll ask a question, but that's not really the question they want the answer to. Like even this week in class, one of my classes, one of the students was asking, well, how do I, she was asking something about, she wanted more abundance, right? More prosperity. How do I ask my team to help me have more abundance and prosperity? Because somebody had inappropriately, right, taken money from her. And so she was like, do I ask for divine justice? Right? Like, well, no, because justice, first of all, justice is not divine. Justice is this idea of somehow payback, right? Or some kind of consequence to someone who did wrong. Like that's not going to bring you more abundance, right? So we have to know how to ask right questions. She got it. She was like, oh, I totally get it, right? Because your guidance is going to help you to have and to achieve the things that you want to have and achieve. And your guidance is going to help you to steer towards what you want and desire. It's also going to help you see through your own roadblocks. Like I wasn't aware that I was carrying that kind of unconscious patterning from other lifetimes where I had felt like guidance had betrayed me. I wasn't even aware of that. It wasn't until in the stillness on the road where I could kind of zone and be conscious, but also not have to think. And in the stillness of the driving, where I could really tune in and hear and receive whatever was available for me. Right. And so this is one of the fascinating parts about being limitless beings in a sense, because our capacity is so great. Our potential is so great. But it's in those moments of the energetic space, the right guidance and support, the right mentorship, the right tools, energetic and psychic types of tools. Those are the things that allow it to blossom, our intuition, our divine gifts, talents, and abilities. And as we work with them, they get cultivated and refined. That's good stuff, right? And if you're carrying a lot of traumas, those will block. They want to be healed and resolved, right? And if you're carrying a lot of like nervous system overwhelm, as I was when I left Florida almost 4 months ago, or somewhere around there, that needs to be resolved too, because it's interference. But no one's going to stop you or block you. You're not blocked or stuck. You have issues. And I don't mean that in a condescending way. I mean that in the most beautiful way. We all have those things that come to the surface for us to clear, heal, and resolve. And those things are the very things that we think are blocking us or keeping us stuck or limiting us. And somewhere within those, there's incredible gifts. And it's only next level mentorship that can help you find those in a way, because that is the purpose of working with a high level mentor who can see that for you and know that you are not defined by your limitations. Those limitations aren't even yours. They're just energetic, right? And like I said, your higher self and your divine team will never block you or stop you or keep you stuck. That's only the parts of you that want to go beyond those stuck or blocked points. I hope that makes sense, but I really want you to get this, that you have incredible capacity to be intuitive. Whether you're a person who's already tapped in and starting to use it, but wants to grow it even more, or whether you're a person who thinks you don't have it, or whether you're a person who's done a lot of work and you're one of those people who's like, I've tried everything and nothing works, or I've tried everything, but I still feel blocked or stuck. What I want to say to you is I want to encourage you to know that whatever you think is blocking you or keeping you stuck or limited, it's just some kind of divine gift waiting to be unwrapped, unlocked, awakened, so that you can claim those gifts, right? Something that you're unconscious of. Because I will say, on the other side of this traveling journey that I've been on, my nervous system is completely relaxed. I am feeling so much more in my power than ever before, so much more aligned with the divinity that I am, that I always have been, more heart centered and more available to serve and support my community than ever before, my students and my clients, because I honored that part of me that needed that break, needed some time off to recalibrate, recoup, realign, and to unwrap those unconscious blocks that were in me, right? That were waiting to be revealed and shared. And this is really the truth. We all have these kinds of things, and we're not so different, none of us. One thing I really want to say, and I'm going to do another episode on this, is just to remember you are not limited. The only limitations are the ones you place upon yourself. And those limitations typically are waiting for something great to be claimed. And on the other side is more of the greatness of who you are, including more of your intuition, your gifts, your talents, your abilities, and what you're here to reveal to the world or share. And let me tell you that as we move forward into the coming years, and it's already becoming evident, right? But having intuition and guidance through challenging times in life, whether it's from another person, support with a mentor, coach, healer, a guide, someone like me, or whether it's through your own divine intuition where you can, I mean, I all the time I'll go to friends and I'll be like, okay, here's what I'm getting. What do you get? I'll do that. It's a great way. It's more and more needed on our planet. It's more and more needed because not only is it restoring your divinity, your true authentic connection with your source, but it really does awaken more happiness, joy, and fulfillment from within. And it makes you feel more safe in this physical world, even though there's chaos going on. And it makes you feel you are more empowered, it makes you feel more confident, more certain, more sure, more aligned. And overall, it creates a kind of stability so that even though things are chaotic in the external world, the stability within you allows you to deliver more, whether it's to your clients, your students, your family, your loved ones, your animals. Because when you're filled up in here and you're aligned with your source and you've got that guidance coming through, and you do know that you can hear it, sense it, feel it, trust it, like as if it's just so clear for you, you become unstoppable. All right. I hope this is helpful. I hope this has been helpful. What I will say is I will put the link in the show notes for the intuition class. There's a home study class developing your intuition, but right now I added extra bonuses in there, plus 2 live calls with me, group coaching, healing calls. And so I half to the price. I added 2 more classes into it that are smaller classes, really good, each valued at about 500. And then 2 live calls with me, which is another $1,000. So it's a huge savings. It's going on right now only. So we'll put the link for that in the description box. If when you go to the show notes, if it's not there, it may mean that the offer is expired, but take a look below. If you want to develop your intuition, now is the time. And the energies supporting us on earth are really helpful in that, really helping for that to be awakened. I just say this one last PS. I was on one of these podcast recently, and I just love this podcast host. And she was saying how she just wishes she could have more of the connection that so many of her guests talk about and share about. And I'm like, you can. There's nothing stopping you. You just have to put your effort and energy there and your desire and intention. It's like anything else. And she was like, yeah, I know. I guess that's what it is. I'd rather be off playing tennis. And I get that. I get that. If you'd rather be off playing tennis or doing something else, no problem. But just remember, it's not that you're being blocked or stuck. It's that you're not choosing it. It is available to you. And if you choose it, the gifts that will come with it are beyond measure. So good. And they will increase your value, your sense of self-worth and value in the world, your sense of self-worth and value with relationship to how you serve and contribute to your clients, students, friends, and family, and your sense of authenticity with your own source, with your own divine team all that stuff goes through the roof in the best ways. No, it's not a pill. No, it doesn't happen overnight, but it can happen really pretty fast, especially with dedication and willingness. And yeah, it's fun. It is fun. It might not be a tennis game, but it's a lot of fun. It feels good. In our group, I love the people in my group. We have just such a great relationship. And I love the camaraderie, the community, and the connection of us working together, not only developing our intuition, but in the sacred mentorship, we're developing our gifts. We get healing practices and protocols, and the people in the group are working through their traumas as well. Nobody doesn't have them. All right. I hope this has been helpful. I'm going to sign off for now. And I am wishing you your most benevolent best. All right. Farewell for now. Bye-bye. Thanks so much for listening today. If you loved the show and if you benefited in any way, if it helped you to up-level or expand your consciousness, if you gained any new insights or ideas, if it made you think or become more aware, or if there were some strategies or intuition that you may have benefited from in any way, would you please do me 2 easy and simple favors? First, if you would be willing to leave a review, it would mean the world to me. I'd be so grateful. And second, if you're willing to share this show with anyone else who would benefit, you can either post it on your social media or just email it to someone and share it with another person or any other people. It would be so awesome. This kind of thing is so helpful in expanding consciousness on the planet and helping others to benefit from this kind of teaching, which just simply isn't generally readily available in the mainstream. So sharing it really helps others benefit and helps our planet evolve and awaken. Plus, expressing gratitude and generosity in this way will also expand your capacity to give and receive even more. Either way, I just want to say thank you so much for being here and for participating and for sharing, and overall, just for being the magnificent, the spectacular, the brilliant, the fabulous, the wonderful you that you truly are, and for allowing yourself to be the very best version of you today and every day. All my love and gratitude to you.